So a few of my subscribers have asked to see a video of my tattoos, so stay tuned to see a tour of all my tattoos head to toe. Hey guys, I'm Hayley Tattooer and this is Tattoo Talk. So today I'm going to be giving you guys kind of like a tour of all the tattoos that I have on my body. I've had quite a few people request this one in the past, so let's get into it. So a little bit of a background on me. I have been tattooing for about 11 years and I had absolutely no tattoos on me when I first got my apprenticeship. It's something that I'd always been around as a young person, but I never thought about getting them actively until I was in the career. So I'm not going to do it chronologically. I'm going to basically start at my feet and work up. So here we go. So on my feet, I have two little Disney references, the little bird from Snow White and the little fish Cleo from Pinocchio. So Cleo's really sassy, really cute, kind of pouty and grumpy, and I kind of relate to that. And also the writing on my other foot says, "We love our bread, we love our butter, but most of all we love our mother," which is kind of like a word play on a quote from the Madeline cartoon that I used to watch as a little girl, and we used to say it to my mum and she used to say it to us as a little kid. So I got that one from Mother's Day, and that is in my mum's beautiful handwriting. Okay, so the next picture, so on my ankle I have the Super Mario Firepower flower, because who doesn't want firepower? And I also have Sailor Mercury from the Sailor Moon squad, because my daughter's name is actually Mercury. I've got a little Harry Potter reference there with the cloud and the Deathly Hallows and the lightning bolt. And I have a portrait of my old dog Ayla. She was a Malamute and I very sadly do not have her anymore. So on my thigh, I have a hot skull air balloon because I really wanted a skull somewhere on me, because skulls are like a traditional kind of like thing that you get tattooed, but I also didn't want like a demon skull at that point. So I got Stevie to girl it up for me and he did a really good job. So that one is by Stevie Scott. So on the back of my calf, I've got a mountain lion and a mandala flower by Rachie Brains at Black Throne. And yeah, that one was kind of like a spontaneous one because I did have another idea, but that one didn't work out on paper. So Rachie just sent me through a couple of pictures and asked me like if I liked any of them, and I really, really liked the that like intense glare from the mountain lion. So, but if I do something that's dark on my body, like in content, I like to frill it up with some design work or like something, just so it is dark but still feminine. Okay, so this guy is on my other thigh. I did this myself about 6 or 7 years ago, and I didn't finish it because it is quite painful to tattoo yourself. It's kind of like ripping wax strips off yourself. Like your brain says yes, but your hand says no. To be honest, I'm probably going to remove this, not because I dislike it or anything like that. It's just because I got another artist to start something on my shin, like a wizard piece, which I'll show you in a sec. And I really, really super like the style and that artist's work. So I'm probably gonna laser this thigh piece off so that I can get that same artist to continue his design work all the way up my thigh. Okay, so starting from the bottom here, we have Theo, which is my son's name, and it was written by my son onto my leg with a pen, and I thought that he did such a great job that I just tattooed straight over it. He was about 3 when we did that. Next we have I Love My Boss, and that was a birthday present for my old boss, and he was pretty chuffed about that. And next to it we have a little push bike that says Cav with an upside down cross. That's for my mate Cav. He actually did that one. We set some stuff up in a nice sterile environment after hours, and I let him bang that one out on me because he's a good mate of mine. And also like a little bit around the corner from that you can see the Count from Sesame Street. That was done by my friend Joel, and he also has the same one on him but with my initials next to it. Hey Joel. Next, we've got a little moth, like a little butterfly, little fella in there, and that is actually the first tattoo ever done by my co-worker Jake, who is now a really super awesome traditional tattoo artist, and he's been tattooing for probably about 5 years now. So yeah, I wanted to have his first ever tattoo. That was cool. The next one, you can see a little car. It's a little Chevy Deluxe there. That was my partner's car, and first time that we ever went out on a date, it was in that car, so it's got kind of romantic connotations, and it was a little Valentine's Day present for him. So if you ever see in like my other videos, sometimes I say it's a bad idea to get like your partner's name, but I haven't got his name. I just got a little, you know, like just a little nod to our little romantic start together. So above that we have like a rose and a snake. I really like snake tattoos, and I had a big gap there, and one of the artists that I was getting tattooed by, Stevie Scott, posted a picture of a drawing that he had done on the bus on the way to work, I think, and said, does anyone want to get this? And I'd had a cancellation for the following day, so I said, yeah, I'll get it. So I booked a flight, and it's about an hour each way to get from where I am to here, so I did a spontaneous little last-minute tattoo trip down to Brisbane to get that one done. That one is actually over an old motorbike exhaust burn, so there's a couple of little spots in there that fell out because it's over a scar, but I've never organised to have it touched up. Okay, so on my other shin we have my Gold Wizard, which is done by Jacob Gardner, and it's like in the neo-traditional style. So I really just asked him for a wizard that was neither a good wizard nor a dark wizard, just a wizard in the middle and some like lightning rays and that kind of thing, and that was all I gave him, and he came up with this, and yeah, it's one of my favorite tattoos, and I hoped that at some point he can continue that sort of magic theme up my leg. So at the top of my other leg I have a Xena Warrior Princess tattoo. So Xena, for those that don't know, Xena Warrior Princess was a TV show that was on in Australia and other parts of the world when I was younger, and she is just like a kick-ass warrior with long dark hair, just getting things done. And when I was a kid I always wanted to be Xena, so I got a tattoo just to commemorate that, I guess. And that one is by Oni O'Leary, who I have admired for a really long time for her awesome style. She's got a very, very unique style. Check her out on Instagram. And yeah, I only just got this one done recently, so it's healed up really nice. Just jumping around here a little bit too is my other shin, which has like an old vintage style pin-up that I got like 8 years ago by my co-worker Tia. And she's got a little tattoo on her arm, and if you look really, 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 really closely, it says Theo on it, because the old pin-ups used to get like their, you know, names of their family and that kind of thing. So yeah, yeah, she's quite old now, that one, but still banging. Up on the backs of my thighs, I still have a couple of gaps, but the writing at the tops of my thighs is actually Pink Floyd lyrics from their song Time from the Dark Side of the Moon album. I've always really, really loved the song Time. It's always spoken to me ever since I was little. And what it actually says is, and you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. And I find that to be a really, really good reminder that life is short, and before you know it, time will end and you're old and it's too late to do the things that you always put off. So to kind of seize the day and do it now before time runs out, which is kind of the theme of the song. Good song. Don't have my butt done currently, but working on that. This one on my sternum is like an ornamental piece by Emily Rose Murray, who is an incredible neo-traditional artist. Make sure you check her out on Instagram as well. And the reason that I got this is because prior to getting this done, I had my whole back done. And when I looked in the mirror, I had this huge back piece and then like nothing on the front, and it was really unbalanced. So I just said to Emily, just maybe like a big gem, like a really big simple gem, and like something to frame that area. And that's what she came up with, and I loved it straight off the bat. And it did the job. It balanced out the front and backs of my torso. I really love filigree too. I've always been quite enamored with like beautiful filigree, like carved timber, filigrees and that kind of thing. Okay, so my back piece. So there's a big story behind my back piece. When I was looking for names for my son Theo, I was looking through Greek mythology stories and that kind of thing to see if there were any names that I liked, and I came across this story of Daphne and Apollo. I'll give you a really quick spiel about Daphne and Apollo. So Apollo he did something to anger the gods. I can't remember the exact story, but he did something to anger the gods. So what the gods did was sent Cupid down, and he shot Apollo with an arrow so that he would fall in love with this girl Daphne. But Cupid also shot Daphne with a lead arrow so that she was unable to fall in love at all. So, you know, time progressed and Apollo was really, really coveting Daphne and like trying to woo her and just following her around and declaring his undying love for her, and she wasn't having any of it. She just couldn't deal with it. She didn't love it. So it escalated to the point where he was physically chasing her, and she was so unhappy. So she called out to her father, who was some kind of god of the earth, and said, please release me from this. Like, I can't love, I hate this and I want to escape. So her father transformed her into a tree. And then Apollo, catching up to her, looking up at her in desperation while her legs entwine down into roots and her hands go up into branches, and she's turning into a tree, and she's kind of like released, and he is devastated. And that love that Cupid incited with that arrow, then, you know, Apollo showed his love for Daphne for the rest of his life by tending to the tree that she turned into, and they say that is why the olive tree is evergreen. And so in that tattoo you can see Apollo down the bottom sort of grabbing up towards Daphne, and they've both got arrows shot into them, and she's sort of twisting up, turning into a tree. And yeah, it was a beautiful piece. It took about 5 hours worth of work, and I was flying about 4 hours either way, 4 hours there, 4 hours back, and over about 6 sessions. So it was a very, very big undertaking, but also by Emily Rosemary. And yeah, I never see it, and I have to cover it up because of the nudity in it. But yeah, it's one of the pieces that I'm most proud of. All right, so going down onto my arms, I have on my hand a cover up by my co-worker Jake. I did have a piece of golden filigree under there, but it didn't match anything else that I got on my arms, so I got that lasered, so laser tattoo removal. And then Jake put this traditional style lantern over it. I've just got lightning bolts in there. I've always loved lightning bolts. It was pretty much just, we did a lantern because of the shape of the space, and it was just an image that I really liked, so we went with that. So no particular meaning behind that one. And you can see sort of on my hands there, I also have some crop circle patterns as well. Love aliens. And the girl up the top with the roses, that was one of my first tattoos. So I think it was my 3rd tattoo ever, about 11 years ago. So even like 10 years ago, doesn't seem that long ago for somebody my age, but the stigma was really, really there. Young girls didn't get tattoos on their arms. So when I got this visible tattoo up on my arm here, if I would go out, people would look at it like stunned, like, that girl's putting tattoos on her arm, that's despicable, like, what is wrong with her? Even my boss was kind of like, my boss at the tattoo studio was like, oh, I don't know if I would have gone on your arm, but now I walk around and nobody even pays a second glance, because there are so many girls and women in my community that are heavily tattooed, so it's changed so much over the last 10 years. You can't really see it around the corner of that one, but there's also a key with a ribbon through it. So on to the next one. There's a little ambigram down on my wrist. That was my first ever tattoo, and it says Danielle one way and Hayley the other, which is an ambigram of my sister and my name, because I love my sissy. And up from that we have a death babushka, and she has bats flying out of her and a little skeleton underneath, and that was just a design that I wanted to get. I seen heaps of babushka dolls when I was traveling through Europe, and I just think they're great. The next one up from that is a dagger going through an eagle, which is a tribute to like a really old school tattoo that my dad has on his arm. So it's kind of like an updated version of that. That one's by Stevie. And then the one above that is just a gap filler that my friend Jake did, and up the top you can't really see, but there's a scarab beetle up there. I've always loved Egyptian imagery, and I needed to fill a gap, so we put a scarab and a rose and a little bit of detailing in there. Alrighty, so up on my upper arm, on my upper left arm, we have an elephant, and because I love elephants, I spent time with elephants in India and I spent time with elephants in Thailand, and I just love them. I think they're the most incredible, warm, funny creatures. Like, they have a sense of humor. In retrospect though, I think you can see here, I've got it kind of like in like circus attire. Like, I got this one like about 8 years ago, but in retrospect, I probably wouldn't put it in circus attire because I'm not really about animals in captivity for like human entertainment. The elephants I seen in Thailand were kind of in that situation, but the elephants that I seen in India they were not mistreated. They were really there because they wanted to be, and you could see that they had an extremely close friendship with their human counterparts. And they were playing with us and being silly, and yeah, it was a really good time. Up on my left elbow, I have a UFO by Stevie Scott because I love aliens. So you can kind of see that guy there. Goes up my arm with a couple of moons and that sort of thing. And like amongst all of those tattoos, there's like little asterisks, like sparkly bits in there just as gap fillers. And on my right arm, we have the beginnings of my sleeve by Emily Rose Murray again. So I just said to Emily, I just want jeweled hands and flowers. That's all I want. I love hands in art. I think hands are actually so descriptive with their positioning, and you can really convey almost as much emotion as a face through just hands in artwork. So I've got that one at the bottom. And again, up the top, just continuing with that same theme, just hands and flowers. That's actually a really poor quality photo. The actual tattoo, I don't know if you can see it there, is like quite a bit darker. So yeah, again, one of my favorite tattoos, and it's very feminine, but not like really, really, really super girly, which is what I like my tattoos to be, because that's reflective of who I am. Girly, but not super, super duper girly. So on the top of my right hand, and just up my arm a little bit, we got a little single liner tattoo design by Jake, and it is like a switchblade dagger with a little snake wrapping around it. Again, love snakes, love daggers. You can sort of see my little dagger earrings there as well. Beautiful scarf. Yeah, I love the style. It's very old school. It's like very 70s almost. So yeah, I've always just wanted that one. This one on my chest that you can actually see now is my little spider. I had some gaps up in there between my tattoos, so I got Jake to put in some single liner spider webs, and I wanted a little spider to go with it. So I won't tattoo any more of my chest there, just because I think that negative space for me is a big thing as well. That's why I don't have the front of my throat tattooed, because I like to, like you see that I have specifically sort of missed my collarbones here, because I just think that that's a really nice feminine area of a woman, and for me, I didn't want to touch that with too many tattoos. Love, love, love full chest piece and neck pieces on other women, but for me, I had kind of a specific vision. Also on this side, you can see I have some writing. I'm going to get that reworked, not covered, but reworked. And it says Wicked and Divine, which is a song lyric by Muse. And I thought it's kind of like the universal yin yang, you know, good, evil, light, dark, wicked, divine. So it's good to have a little bit of balance in your life, both the dark and the light, and that was kind of representative of that. So again, these pictures aren't very good quality. Some of these tattoos are a lot more contrasty, but in this one we have a little bluebird, like not a bluebird, but like a birdie sitting up on my neck in some flowers. That's actually extended off my back piece. So my back piece just wraps sort of continuously up along my neck here. You can see that there. And there is like an Old English T at the top. That's for Theo, because I love my boy. That one is actually done by Emily Murray, same as my back. And the T is by Tia. Double meaning. Another one of my favorite tattoos is this big mandala on my neck here. So I'll show you that there and then I'll show you the photo. So that one is by Stevie Scott again. And he did a wicked awesome job of the color and placement that I wanted in that one. Because yeah, I didn't want it to be too far back. I didn't want it to be like right on the front, but I wanted a little bit of leaf across the front as well. So yeah, that was about 4 hours worth and it was very painful. Not my most painful, but it was up there. And I don't have a photo, but you might be able to see I actually have little tattoos on my earlobes. Charming. One is an anchor, one is a ship's wheel. And I always say that's to keep me grounded and steer me in the right direction. And also I was slack for getting my second my second piercings done. I just thought maybe if I tattoo it, and it did not hurt at all. It was really like the least painful thing. It was kind of more weird that my old boss was touching my earlobes. Okay, and then we have my fingers. So I got all of my finger tattoos done at the same time and it was excruciating, but they definitely held in. So my fingers say I wonder, because I wonder about everything. I'm constantly on the search for knowledge. I'm thirsty for knowledge. I will pick a subject and I will dive into it so deep and find out all of the facts. I'm always wondering about things. So that was that. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of like read across and tell you what they are. So we've got a little Saturn because I love planets and sort of like astrophysics and everything like that. A little Dark Side of the Moon album cover by Pink Floyd. Love Pink Floyd, favorite album of all time. A lightning bolt because I love lightning and also Harry Potter. Deathly Hallows, again, love Harry Potter. An atom because I'm interested in all things science and physics. An inverted cross, not a satanic thing or anything like that, it's just anti-religion. And I know people are going to tell me that an inverted cross is actually a religious thing. My interpretation of it is just anti-religion. A love heart, because that is the stereotypical wedding ring finger, so the love finger, I don't know. Ew. And a music note because I love music. I did play music in the past, not so much anymore because I'm busy tattooing. But I've always listened to music while doing my art, and yeah, it's played a huge part in my life. So there you have it. That is almost, I think, a complete representation of all of my tattoos. If you have any questions at all about my tattoos or my experience getting tattoos, or even anything related to tattooing or getting tattooed, please pop your questions in the comments and I will address them in a future video. You can swing over to my Instagram account, Hayley Tattooer, and see some of my work and some of my life stories and that kind of thing. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See ya.